Howdy students, today I will be explaining to you chapter number 3, two stories about flying, the part 2 of this chapter, the black aeroplane, Frederick Forsyth. Before this, we have already understood chapter number 3's part 1. The name of part 1 was His First Flight. If you have not read it or understood it, you can go to my last video and see it. And now we will begin with the part 2. The name is The Black Aeroplane, written by Frederick Forsyth. But first, let's have a brief idea about the chapter. A pilot is lost in storm clouds. Does he arrive safe? Who helps him? So this is a story full of suspense. It is about a pilot who is lost in storm clouds in the sky. Let's see if he arrives to his destination safely or if he gets stuck and what happens in the story. The moon was coming up in the east behind me and stars were shining in the clear sky above me. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. I was happy to be alone, high up above the sleeping countryside. I was flying my old Dakota aeroplane over France back to England. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. I looked at my watch, 1:30 in the morning. So, the setting of the story is sky, an aeroplane which the narrator is flying, and it is a night scene. The moon was coming up from the east. It was following him. The stars were shining in the sky. It was a clear night, shiny, starry night. There was no cloud in the sky. He was happy to be alone up there in the sky while the country was sleeping below him. He was flying his old Dakota aeroplane over France and he was going to England. He was dreaming of his holidays that he was going on and was waiting for his family, was very eager to meet his family. And that is what we all want, right? In the end, to be at home. He looked at his watch and it was 1:30 in the morning, 1:30 a.m. I should call Paris Control soon, I thought. As I looked down past the nose of the aeroplane, I saw the lights of a big city in front of me. I switched on the radio and said, Paris Control, Dakota, DSO 88 here. Can you hear me? I'm on my way to England. Over. So, at first he thought about calling the Paris Control and then he looked through the edge of the aeroplane and he saw the city lights of the city, and he switched on the radio and tried to contact the Paris Control, and he told them that he was going to England. He conveyed his message. The voice from the radio answered me immediately. DSO 88, I can hear you. You ought to turn 12 degrees west now. DSO 88, over. So the Paris Control answered him, told him that he needs to turn 12 degrees to the west. I checked the map and the compass, switched over to my second and last fuel tank and turned the Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. What he did, he checked the map and compass and took the turn that was told to him by the officer. I'll be in time for breakfast, I thought. A good big English breakfast. Everything was going well. It was an easy flight. He thought that he will get England by the time of breakfast, by morning, and he will take the good big English breakfast. He was very much excited about going back to his home and having that breakfast, and everything was going well too. It was a very easy flight. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds, storm clouds. They were huge. They looked like black mountains standing in front of me across the sky. I knew I could not fly up and over them, and I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to north or south. He had left Paris 150 kilometers behind, and then he saw storm clouds, big storm clouds. They were black. They looked like black mountains, very big. He knew that he could not fly over them, and his flight did not have enough fuel to take the north or south, to take a bypass route. So he did not know what to do. He was confused for a moment. I ought to go back to Paris, I thought, but I wanted to go home. I wanted that breakfast. So he thought in himself that he should go back to Paris because the clouds were very big and he would not reach by any way, by any chance. But the desire to go home was very big. I'll take the risk, I thought, and flew that old Dakota straight into the storm. And he decided to take the risk and enter the cloud. Inside the clouds, everything was suddenly black. It was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane. The old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. I looked at the compass. I couldn't believe my eyes. The compass was turning round and round and round. It was dead. It would not work. The other instruments were suddenly dead too. I tried the radio. Paris Control, can you hear me? So everything got black when he entered the clouds, and he could not see anything outside the aeroplane, outside the windows. He looked at the compass, and the aeroplane was jumping and twisting in the air, going here and there. It was out of control. He couldn't believe his eyes that compass was turning over and over, round and round. It was dead. It did not work. It had stopped working, and the other instruments were suddenly dead too. Every electronic device started to die, and he then tried to control the Paris Control through the radio. Paris Control, can you hear me? He called them and he asked them if they can hear him. There was no answer. The radio was dead too. I had no radio, no compass, and I could not see where I was. I was lost in the storm. Then, in the black clouds near me, I saw another aeroplane. It had no lights on its wings, but I could see it flying next to me through the storm. I could see the pilot's face turned towards me. I was very glad to see another person. He lifted one hand and waved. The radio was dead too. The Paris Control did not answer him. Now he was left with no radio, no compass, and he could not even see or locate where he was. He could not see anything outside the aeroplane. He was lost inside that storm. And then, out of blue, he saw another aeroplane. That aeroplane had no lights on its wings, but he could see it flying next to him. The pilot turned his face towards the narrator, and the narrator was very happy to see another person, to find someone at least there inside the stranded clouds. The pilot in the other aeroplane lifted his hand and waved. "Follow me," he was saying. "Follow me." And the other pilot asked the narrator to follow him. He turned his aeroplane slowly to the north in front of my Dakota, so that it would be easier for me to follow him. I was very happy to go behind the strange aeroplane like an obedient child. So this pilot came as his savior, guardian angel, right? And he turned his aeroplane slowly to the north. The other pilot, and he brought his aeroplane in front of Dakota so that narrator could follow the aeroplane very easily. The narrator became happy to find this strange aeroplane, and He followed him like an obedient child wherever he was flying his aeroplane. After half an hour, the strange black aeroplane was still there in front of me in the clouds. Now, there was only enough fuel in the old Dakota's last tank to fly for over 5 or 10 minutes more. I was starting to feel frightened again, but then he started to go down and I followed through the storm. They flew for half an hour inside the clouds, and after that there was too less fuel left in Dakota. It could only fly for 5 or 10 minutes. He was scared again. The narrator became scared again. But then he started to go down. His savior, the other aeroplane, started to go down and he followed it in the storm. Suddenly, I came out of the clouds and saw 2 long straight lines of flights in front of me. It was a runway, an airport. I was safe. I turned to look for my friend in the black aeroplane, but the sky was empty. There was nothing there. The black aeroplane was gone. I could not see it anywhere. And suddenly they come out of the clouds and he saw the runway, 2 straight lines in front of him, and he felt safe. He thought that he had reached home or he had landed at least. He turned to look for his savior, his friend in disguise, who came to help him to his rescue in the storm, but there was no aeroplane in the sky. The sky was empty. There was nothing there. The black aeroplane had just vanished. I landed and was not sorry to walk away from the old Dakota near the control tower. I went and asked a woman in control center where I was and who the other pilot was. I wanted to say thank you. As he landed, he walked from his aeroplane to the tower, to the control tower, and asked the officer in charge there, asked the woman sitting over there, about the other pilot, about the pilot of the other aeroplane that had come to help him. He wanted to say thanks, convey his thanks to him. She looked at me very strangely and then laughed. She gave him a strange look and started laughing. Another aeroplane? Up there in this storm. No other aeroplanes were flying tonight. Yours was the only one I could see on the radar. The woman said, another aeroplane? What another aeroplane are you talking about? Yours was the only one in the sky. So who helped me to arrive there safely without a compass or a radio or without any more fuel in my tanks? Who was the pilot on the strange black aeroplane flying in the storm without lights? The narrator gets confused. The main character. He did not know who had come to help him without a compass or radio, any device, and not even enough fuel. How he knew so much about him? Was it his instinct or God? Who was it? There is an open ending to this chapter, open to interpretation, open to suspense. You have to think of your own. The questions here are unanswered. Who was his guardian angel? The narrator's guardian angel. Was it God or his own instinct? It could be anything. Thank you, friends. That's all about the chapter. Do the question answers, and if you have any doubts, contact.